Hey, what's going on? This is Mark from Metal Church, and we will be coming over in a couple of weeks for a full-on Australian tour, and we are pretty damn excited about it.
Very good, Mark. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Pleasure. So, as you say, man, Metal Church hit Australia in a few short weeks for a run of shows starting in Melbourne on December 14th and going through Brisbane and Sydney before finishing in Adelaide on December 17th. I know she's a few weeks off yet, mate, but are you packed and ready to go?
I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Yeah, we just came off the road doing a bunch of dates here in the States, so we're all ready to go again. We got we're doing like I would call it a warm-up show, but we're doing a show a couple of days before we head over to Australia here in California to get the pumps rolling again, you know?
Yeah, cool. And as you say, man, like you do a bit of traveling and touring these days. So what's one luxury item that you never leave home without when you're traveling for tour?
My headphones.
They're almost essential item, aren't they?
Oh man, it's the escape item, you know. It's the only thing you have that make you feel like you don't have to deal with the rest of the world.
You shut them all out for that moment of time.
Right.
Yeah. It's gonna be Metal Church's first trip out here since 2019, mate. So aside from the tragic obvious, bro, what's changed with the band since you're out here last?
Well, the set list is tremendously different. It's really heavy on the first couple albums and our new album. And yeah, I mean, we're having a really good time, and there's a lot of energy. Anybody that's seen me play live in anything like my Rasta Boss or anything knows that I am pretty much a hyper maniac. That hasn't changed.
Good. So elaborate on that a little bit for us, bro. Like, tell us, like, what can Australian fans expect from the shows? It's been a few years.
Well, from what I understand, from the last tour, the set list will be drastically different. Like I said, it'll be focused on the first three albums and our new album. So expect a lot. We're playing a bunch of stuff that's I don't think it's ever been played in Australia. So it'll be cool. And we added a couple of things just for this tour as well. So it's going to be a pretty wild night. It's going to be good. It'll be heavy, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, I mean this with the utmost respect, mate, but like none of us are getting any younger. So like, how do you guys compensate, I suppose, for the fact now that you can't do some of the things you used to be able to do back in the day on stage?
Well, for me, I can do anything that I did when I was 20. So it doesn't matter. You know, I work out a lot. I'm big into fitness, and I stay real consistent on the road. And everybody in the band, Kurt works out a lot, and you know, everybody just stays healthy. Definitely better than a lot of bands out there in the age category, you know what I mean? So, you know, there's definitely there won't be any handicap, so to say, for us playing live, you know what I mean? It'll be wild. I mean, no, we're not, you know, there's no jumping and doing David Lee Roth splits or anything like that, but you know, it's still cool, you know?
Hey, good, man. You touched on this a couple of times, mate, but you released your 13th studio album, Congregation of Annihilation, back in May this year. So how was it received by the fans?
Amazing. Like way beyond our expectations. It charted in like 6 different countries. It was in the top 20 in the US, which is the highest ranking Metal Church record ever. It was in the top like 12 or something in Germany, which is the highest ranking Metal Church album ever. So, and it was like number 1 all over the place for Amazon. So it's been pretty wild. Definitely more than we imagined. You know, I mean, we went in and just, you know, me and Kurt worked extremely hard writing the material. And I just wanted to make a Metal Church record for the next era of the band. You know, we weren't trying to copy anything that we've done before. that they've done before, but still keep that spirit and that energy going, and we're pretty proud, not pretty, we are absolutely proud of what we did. Yes.
Along those lines, mate, like the press release calls it a return to Metal Church's musical roots. Would you agree with that? And if so, was it a conscious effort going into it that you wanted to recreate?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, when we first started writing the material, a lot of material that was written at the time was for the next record with Mike. The material that they did with Mike was definitely more on the hard rock metal, that more type of more style. For me, I'm into heavy stuff. I love heavy music. And, the first two albums for me were always the ones. So I was going for that vibe. So we ended up, and Kurt realized, once we started to work, he felt out my vocal style and what I was doing, and we worked it from there, and we wrote, a whole bunch of brand new songs, and that's what ended up on the record, and that's why it's got a way more aggressive edge, and probably, even definitely will stay more so in that vein for the next record as well, probably even a little bit more. So.
Nice. And Kurt has also said that the new album is starting a new chapter in the Metal Church legacy. So is that just in reference to you now fronting the band, or does he mean musically as well?
I think it means both. He didn't want to, you've already done what you've done, and it's amazing. The dark and, blessing in disguise, or even damned if you do. Those records have already made their statement, and if we're going to continue on and carry the legacy, the idea was to take everything that they've done so far, and then what can we add to it and make it a new, fresh approach to what's already had been done. You know what I mean? So, and that we feel like we definitely have accomplished that, and I believe we've only touched on it because, now that we've been playing a lot live together and we're together a lot, we definitely have a better grasp at what each are, definitely a different kind of vibe where we can go off of each other now more so than when we were putting this record together.
And of course, this is your first album as a singer after Mike Howe passed in 2021, mate. Was it a difficult album for you coming into an established band? I know you've done stuff before with Ross the Boss and Let Us Pray, but it's a whole different sort of pressure coming into something like this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the pressure was immense. I also I think what I did was I approached it as a fan. I was like, what would I want to hear as a fan personally? In fact, I'm on the opposite, the shoe was on the other foot here, so to say. And, that's how I wrote it. I went into, the old stuff and nitpicked, the things, the little nuances and little things that I would always liked about it. Cause, obviously, you love it, but what made it tick, and, it wasn't like, oh my God, I need to do this and I need to do that. But just to get an idea of going into it. But once we started, once I started laying down the tracks, I was myself. I definitely wasn't like, oh, I need that to sound like this, or I need that to sound like that. I kind of knew, I knew what I was going for. I heard it in my head of how I would want to hear the new Metal Church, and that's what I went for.
So the guys pretty much encourage you to stamp your own personality on it from the start.
That was the beauty of it. I remember when I did the audition, I had done Metal Church, and I did two versions. I did one that was more traditional to the record, and then I did one that was my way, and it was cool because they loved it. They thought that was great, and and like Kurt said, he goes, I want you to be your own self, and this is a new era of the band, and for us to go forward, we have to have this identity. So, that, and hats off to him for that, to give me that freedom. I ended up writing every song with him on the record, which he's never done before. So that was pretty wild. Yeah.
You've sort of alluded to this a few times, mate, but we'll sort of go into a little bit more detail. Like, what lessons did you learn from doing this album that you think you're going to carry into doing the next one, like your second album as vocalist?
That's a good question. I don't know. I maybe a little bit less is more, type of thing. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I it's hard to say. I mean, I definitely learned about myself, vocally, definitely trying out new techniques and doing some different stuff that I wouldn't normally have done, which was great. It's kind of cool because it's something I always wanted to do, but never took the time to do it. You know what I mean? And but it suited this so great. And I mean, I approach every song differently. Each song is its own entity. It's kind of weird. Like on the record, there's some bonus tracks, and the reason they ended up being bonus tracks is because we, like the 9 songs that encompass the record, they conceptually and vibe-wise fit together. And it was we had this thing. It fit the title. It fit the whole subject matter. Everything around it was cohesive. The bonus tracks were just cool tunes. And with those, which was interesting because there was a couple that were very unstylistic for me. And we weren't going to do them originally. And I turned to Kurt and I'm like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. Because, I could, let me go outside my comfort zone a little bit here. And they were fun. It was a less is more approach. And I thought that was cool. You know what I mean? Will we do that again? I mean, maybe. I don't know. You know what I mean? We just don't know. You can't really predict. There's no like preemptive strike we got. We just, I just know that I'm going to go in there and I want to write driving stuff, like Pick a God and cool and, and Congregation. And, those 2 songs pretty much would represent my vibe on everything,
The way your face lit up when you were telling that then, mate, was actually quite inspiring, bro.
Yes, it's been it's a dream come true. It sounds cliche, but it's true. I mean, I grew up with listening to this band. The first 2 records have always been on my to-go-to playlist. I always loved when there's a few singers that I go to that I'll listen to that get me all fired up whenever I would go to play. And, David Wayne would be one of them. Eric Adams would be another. And then, like Bruce and, I love that aggressive high or the low. And, I would go listen to Fear Factory is another huge band of mine that I love. And so it's kind of like this encompassing thing, but they were always on that playlist is what I'm trying to say. So for me to go, from when I'm on stage and I look over and I see the big Metal Church banner, and then I look over to my right and I see Kurt standing there, I'm like, wow, and we're playing like, Gods of Wrath. And it's like, what this is crazy. So.
All right, Mark. Well, that's all I've got for you today, bro. Metal Church is out here from December the 14th, kicking off in Melbourne. I'm going to pop along to the Brisbane show, mate. So try and catch your eye from the audience and give you a wave.
Awesome. Look forward to it, man. We cannot wait.
No worries. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, brother. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right, man. Thank you. Great. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, bro. Take care.
All right, man. Bye.